Hello, new school comic book reviews. Before I get into the comic books, a couple of things. One sort of interesting thing is between later tonight and from later tonight until tomorrow night, they're actually going to be shooting a TV show in the neighborhood. I think it's going to be Chicago PD. I was sort of thinking about maybe, kind of peeking out there, but, forget it. Where I live right now, it's like 4 degrees with a wind chill of like 20 below. So, forget that. I'm going to try to start putting a little bit more thought into my movie reviews. The next review will probably be um, Guardians of the Galaxy. After that, I was thinking about maybe doing one of these films, either Young Auntie, oops, or Black Say by Mario Brava, or Charlize Theron in Alien Flux. I'll have to rewatch them, but I was just kind of thinking about a lot of times I do these movie reviews and I just do some Z-grade no-name movie that I found on either Redbox or Netflix or something. And I'm really fascinated by those movies, but I kind of think other people out there probably don't really care. So maybe I thought, maybe I should try to do stuff that people have at least heard of. So that's going to be my next plan for those type of reviews and things like that. And like I said, I also try to put a little bit more thought into them. I kind of sort of, the way I do a lot of these reviews now is I just kind of turn the camera on and just wing it. But I think people maybe deserve a little bit more from me than just going, it's okay, Anyway, comic books I got recently. Let's start with Storm number 7, written by Greg Pak, and the art is by Al Barrionuevo, and the art is by Tom Palmer. It's okay. It picks up from last issue. Storm has saved a group of people from an attack on a private airplane, and even though she saved everyone, she kind of gets blamed for it, so she gets arrested and captured. In this issue, Rachel Summers and a couple of the other X-Men, the Beast and Nightcrawler, contact her telepathically, and they want to help her and things like that, and they're deciding whether they should just bust her out or whatever. And basically she kind of tells them, no, I'll handle it myself, and get to the bottom of what's going on. There seems to be a crooked senator involved and so on and so forth. And that's all I should probably talk about without giving it away. It's an okay issue. It's like I said, the story's starting to pick up. I've been buying the comic, and I kind of like it, but I just kind of like it. It's not a bad comic book by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it kind of suffers from not having a real clear hook, a real clear direction or whatever. I think if Storm has a solo comic, they should probably try to build more of a supporting cast around her that's all her own, maybe her own sort of environment or base of operations or something, maybe have her own villains and things like this. This up until this point, the last couple of issues have been pretty good, but the first few issues really seem kind of random. Storm doing some good deeds, and like I said, the comic hasn't been bad, but it just doesn't have that extra thing that you expect from a solo comic to distinguish it, from just being, Storm's in this comic, la-di-da-di-da. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's okay, but it's kind of just okay. I guess I just wanted a little bit more out of the comic. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't really wow me, Grayson, number 5 by Tim Seeley, and the art is by, writer is Tom King, so I guess he did the script. Plot is Tim Seeley and Tom King, and the artist is Michael Janin. I have not been following this comic book at all. All I know about it is Dick Grayson now is part of some spy organization, Spiral, and I guess that's what this comic book is about. I basically picked it up on a whim. I'm kind of curious about the new version of Helena Bertinelli. I guess previously Helena, let's see here, pre-52, Helena Bertinelli was the alter ego of the Huntress. Since the new 52 has come back, um, the Huntress is now the daughter of Earth 2 Batman and Catwoman. And I think in the first issue of World's Finest, they established that Helena Bertinelli was just an alias that Huntress was using. But now in this comic, there actually is a Helena Bertinelli character. And hey, like I said, I just picked it up on a whim. This particular issue has Dick Grayson and the Midnighter and Helena Bertinelli in a chopper somewhere over the desert, and in the chopper there's a woman giving birth, and the chopper crashes and the lady dies, but they save the baby. But now they have to cross the desert, and there's all this stuff. They're in the desert, they don't have too many rations and things like that. Midnighters talking all kinds of crap, and but Dick is determined to save everyone and to at the very least save the baby, you know. And there's the new Helena Bertinelli, and she falls out. Here's a pretty funny scene where Dick gets tired of Midnighter's crap, and that's basically what this particular issue is about, them trying to cross the desert. Don't want to give too much away, but it's pretty interesting. I might start buying Grayson on a regular basis, or I'll at least get the next couple of issues. Yeah, not a whole lot of plot going on, but what's here seemed pretty solid. Like the story, like the dialogue. There's a interesting bit where Dick is trying to keep his morale going, obviously, and also to keep the baby calm. He tells a dream about how he had to save Batman and so on and so forth, and obviously it's a big metaphor for blah 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 blah. And like I said, there's a pretty interesting last page reveal. And yeah, the art's pretty good, pretty clean, pretty, I don't want to say simple. Simple's not the word I want to use, but lots of clean lines and things, easy to understand. I like the kind of interesting things they did with the panel layout and whatnot. So yeah, I'll probably check out the next few issues. Shaft #2, written by David F. Walker and illustrated by, I'll probably say this name wrong, Bilquis Elvey. Basically, this story is set in the past. It's got to be the early 70s. It doesn't really say, but you can just kind of tell by the references people make to things like Vietnam and whatnot, and the fashions that the various characters are wearing and everything. So basically, in this issue, this is still young John Shaft. He is not quite a private investigator yet, or he's not the character that you see in the movies yet. He has taken a job as a detective in a department store, and while he's there, he meets a young lady who also works in the store, and they start dating. And here's a cool 2-page spread. This would be like the montage scene you would see in like a mainstream movie about, you know, a couple getting together and dating. But what happens is a couple of thugs break into her apartment looking for somebody else, and basically they rope John into helping them find this person, or else they're going to kill him and the girl and whatever. And you know, more things happen. Again, don't want to give anything away. Really solidly written comic as far as the trying to get this glare off of here. As far as the story is concerned, I really enjoyed it. I was afraid this comic was going to be like weird and campy and cheesy or whatever, but it's just a solid kind of detective thriller type thing. The art is actually pretty interesting too because it's very, very basic. But it works. I mean, it works as far as delivering the story. It's easy to tell the characters apart. It's easy to tell what's happening panel to panel. I also think the artist does a good job of, portraying fashion at that time or whatnot. So, yeah, solid comic book here. Next, Ant-Man #1 by Nick Spencer, writing, and the artist is Ramon Rosanas. Basically, this is the Scott Lang Ant-Man, and if you're a big comic book fan, you probably are aware that they have a movie coming out starring this version of Ant-Man. So, of course, Marvel has to put out a comic. In this issue, basically, we're kind of introduced to Scott Lang, and he kind of tells his backstory about how he used to be this low-level criminal. His daughter's life was at stake, and he ended up stealing the old Ant-Man's costume to save her life, and blah 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 blah, and then became a superhero after that, after being forgiven and so on and so forth. And now he has his teenage daughter. He's a divorced dad. And on one hand, he's trying to figure out how to make this superhero thing work. On the other hand, he's trying to be a good dad to his daughter. And that's basically it. This particular issue, he tries to get a job at Stark International. And that's basically the framing device for the story. Tony Stark does show up, the same, and so do a few other minor characters of the Marvel Universe. And that's basically it. It's a pretty solid one and done issue almost that does a really good job of introducing the character, establishing the other characters that he interacts with. You get a good grasp on his personality and his motivations and whatnot. And here's some more. But yeah, this is actually probably so far of the few comics that I'm going to review right now. It's actually my favorite comic. It was really good, really solid. Really solid writing. You get, like I said, you get really good characterizations. Really tight pacing. A lot of stuff happens here as far as giving you information along the way of giving you information as well as moving the story forward, and it's really good. I can see how if certain other people have done this comic, it probably would have been like 3 or 4 issues. But Nick Spencer was able to, pack it into one issue, one double-sized issue. But really good, and I'm really looking forward to the next issue. Regardless of however good or bad the movie does, I hope this comic keeps going with this specific team. Okay, other stuff I got Sleigh Ride Part 2, Dark Horse Grindhouse. Fade Out issue 4. I haven't read that one yet. And Shield #1. Haven't read that yet. Okay, and I guess that's it. I got to thank you very much for listening, and you have a good day.